This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome to this week's Rambling, and praise the Lord! Things have happened in the world of gaming that are actually worth talking about. So this week's Rambling has been relatively easy, although I've been jotting loads of things down on a piece of paper which I have beside me so that I don't forget anything. There are two pieces of extraordinarily new news, and then there's a little bit of news that escaped me from a few months ago, which surprises me because it's about my favourite game ever. And just a little bit of something because it just looks so beautiful. So I want to talk about it. And it connects to the first thing that I'm going to talk about. However, before I do any of that, I'm going to mention this because, as you well know, I'm prepping up for buying my PlayStation 4 Pro. And I was a little bit wary of like, how do I get the stuff off of my current PS4? How do I wipe it? How do I, what dongle do I buy? What hard drive do I buy? What that will work with the PS4? Because I have put other devices in the PS4 and it's not recognized them. So I was a bit worried about paying for something that didn't work. So if anyone is interested in a pen drive or a hard disk drive and wants to know what works, I went onto Amazon and I purchased a Kingston Hyper pen drive. It's a Fury. It's called a Fury. I've got a bit of the packaging left. It's a 32 gig. There was also a 16 gig version, and it was only 11 quid. 32 gig is plenty. I mean, in my case, I don't want to back up all the games. I just want to back up my save data and my capture gallery. So, and well, in actual fact, in this stage of the game, I'm not interested in the videos, so I wiped all the videos from my capture gallery, and I just wanted the pictures, because I use the pictures for, I don't know if I've mentioned this to anyone on YouTube before, and I don't actually have the digital frame out at the minute, but what I do is I put all of the digital pictures that I've taken when I've been playing my games, I put them on a pen drive and I insert them into a digital photo frame. And it's a brilliant way of just having little memories of your games just in the room with you at the time, and they look fantastic. It's the best reason I've found for actually having all these pictures that you take when you're in a game. It's a brilliant thing. So if you've never thought about that as an idea, you should try it because it's absolutely brilliant. And but it's not, since I moved, I haven't had it up, but I will, and it's mainly because my little photo frame is kind of, the screen's gone a bit wonky on it, so it doesn't look great. So I'm going to get a new one at some point. But I've got all of my pictures. That's why I've kept all of my photo gallery pictures so that I can put them onto whatever the new pen is, and I'll have them on the new version of my digital photo frame, just like a slideshow. So it just goes round them, and you can put that anywhere in any room really. So it's quite nice, and the perfect idea for what to do with those pictures, because you take them and you go, ooh, that's really nice, and you might share them, but then you're just left with all these pictures that you really love and you don't know what to do with them, and it's a brilliant way of keeping them kind of forever and using them and enjoying them. Anyway, all that aside, so that's the pen drive. It does just fit into the little slat that's in the PlayStation 4, and it's just one with a removable, I'll show you it here, with a removable top on it. And that's it. I think the top does actually fit on the back. Yeah, it does. So you can put it on the back if you want while you're using it. So that's it. Yeah, perfect little answer to my question. I eventually just went for it because a couple of the reviews said, yeah, it works with the PS4 and it's already formatted for the PS4, because I'm going to get it the wrong way around. Either the PS4 has to be formatted for FAT32 or NTFS. I think it might be FAT32, but better check that. Don't take my word on it. But this was perfect. It was already formatted. I plugged it in. It recognised it straight away. I did a backup of when you run the backup from system settings. It takes it a little while to figure out what memory is going to be left after you've finished. But I say a little while, it's only like a minute. And then you've got a little tick box that says exclude applications. So just tick that, get rid of it, because you're going to install them fresh, unless you've got a massive pen drive and you're going to transfer all your games as well, but it would take probably it's probably quicker to reinstall them. So yeah, I unticked that, threw the pen drive in, and it did it within 20 minutes. And then I did an initialization on the PlayStation. Make sure before you do the initialization that you have if you're going to change consoles, that you've deactivated on your PSN account, you've deactivated the PS4 as your primary PS4. Because if you don't do it at that point, I think you get a bit stuck from what I'm hearing. So yeah, make sure you've done that. It wasn't an issue for me because for some reason I hadn't activated mine at all. I've activated my Vita and I've activated my PS3, but I hadn't activated the PS4 for some reason. So that was all fine for me. So initialized it. The initialization, a full reinitialization, which formats the hard drive entirely, takes 2 hours. You can do a quick one, but it leaves ghost images on the hard drive. So if you're getting rid of it, then do the full one and it'll fully format the hard drive properly. So I did all of that and went through the basic settings. I made the small error of thinking I needed to sign in and get my stuff back, but I didn't actually, because when you back it up, it actually backs up everything. It takes it to a restore point. So all I had to do was plug this back in and it stuck all my data back on. So, and it was that simple. And restoring it was really quick. And I think 5 minutes or something. It was fantastic. So if you had any worries or queries or questions about moving to the PS4 Pro, or perhaps just changing PS4 to the Slim, then there's one that will definitely work, along with its smaller brother of the 16 gig model. And there you are. So that's enough about that. Let's get on to the more interesting things. There's it behind me. I've literally just finished restoring it, so there's no games or anything on it. So there you are. Right, so I've got a number of things written down in front of me here. Now, first things first, I should have waited a week before I talked about the Nintendo NX, shouldn't I? It's changed its name all of a sudden, and they have officially announced that it's called the Nintendo Switch, and it looks brilliant. They've finally they've got things back together again, Nintendo, and I'm very excited about this console. It looks fantastic. The concept is definitely mobile gaming on the same games that you are playing on your television with the same kind of power, not necessarily the same resolution, but that makes sense because you're on a smaller screen. No point in having the bigger resolution if you're on the smaller screen, of course. So you have the bigger resolution on the TV, and then you have the smaller resolution on the screen. The screen's a good size. I mean, I'll be showing the trailer for it that they released yesterday behind me. Nintendo are very strict on the showing of their content on YouTube. So I say very strict. I think they only put adverts on top of it. So if you see adverts on this video, it's because Nintendo have put them there. So I'm more than happy for them to do that. I don't monetize my channel. You know all that already. So I'm more than happy to put the clips up. If for some reason it does block this video, then I will do a version of this that doesn't show it, which will be a bit disappointing because you won't see it, but just go and Google it, you'll find it. So hopefully you'll be seeing all of this behind me. So yeah, so it's a docking system. So when you see the whole system together, and the controller it looks a bit strange when you see it at first, but then you see the guy slide off the outer parts of it. So the controller is actually two separate pieces that either slide onto a central holder if you're in the house and you use that for gaming with, or you slide those pieces off of the central controller holder and you slide them on to the portable device, which is slipped in between the docking station, and lift it out, and that becomes the controller for the portable device. And so far as we can tell, the cartridge, which I talked about in my last video, this whole system has gone back to cartridge based, which is a memory card effectively, and it just slots straight into the portable device. So you're playing the same games on the portable device that you're playing on your home console, and it shows a guy playing on a plane. You can go anywhere, walking his dog, like same game. So you might get 900p different frames per second, maybe. I don't know if the frames change, but you'll certainly get a smaller screen, therefore smaller res. But same game, looking fantastic. You know, it's not like a Vita version of the game, it's the same game. So, I mean, that is just incredible. I'm so excited for this console. I mean, I'm really going to try and get it at launch if I can. But bearing in mind, I'm getting my PS4 Pro in a few weeks' time. Then we've got Christmas. And there's a few things at the beginning of the year that are just, things you've got to pay for. like car insurance. Things that actually matter, you know. So I'll try, though. Its release date is March. So if it's at the end of March, I might be lucky. But there you are, yeah. So it showed, one of the great things that I noticed was it was showing Skyrim playing on a portable hand. I mean, this is the Skyrim remastered version by looks of it, and it's playing on the mobile version of it. So that's how much power you're carrying with you. So it's absolutely awesome if they've got that power in your hands to go. I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to be using the portable side of it that much. I don't go anywhere that would. I don't travel to the point where I would need to use it. But from their perspective, they are not only giving us a console that it's as powerful. From what we're hearing and from the chips that are in it, we are hearing that it is slightly more powerful than the Xbox One Slim, and it is around the PS4 standard. Maybe it's somewhere in between the two, which means it's on par with the other two, because those two are pretty close together anyway. So that is pretty impressive to me. I didn't want Nintendo to come out with some, 4K Uber thing that beat them all, like the Scorpio and the PS4 Pro. I'm not really that bothered that they haven't come out with 4K. I believe it'll do 4K movie streaming, which is something that I mentioned last week, although it's not mentioned in that video, I don't think. But the 1080p is gorgeous. If you can get 1080p 60 frames per second on the big screen, then that is absolutely gorgeous. It's more than enough to be competing with these two. So they're back. For me, this brings them well back into the game. And you're talking about bringing something different to the party as well, because this is something that Sony and Xbox can't match that, because they have nothing similar. They've been so focused. They're more focused on VR and power. That's all they're interested in. Obviously in the games, but so I think Nintendo have been really clever here. They knew it was something that the other two weren't looking at, the mobile area. They know that separate mobile devices are becoming redundant because people, the Vita's a prime example. The portable devices are just dying because of Android gaming. So they found a way to play the Uber games on a mobile device, and you don't have to buy two separate things. It's one thing. It's brilliant. It's genius, people. It's genius. So I'm so excited, and there was loads of, I haven't jotted them down actually, but there was loads of developers coming out of the woodwork saying, yes, we have been working with them on the Switch. Yes, we are going to be bringing games. No, we're not going to tell you what they are yet. And all of the big guns were mentioning it. Bethesda, obviously, with Skyrim, 2K, Ubisoft. There was loads of them. So I'm really excited. It's the first time in a really long time that Nintendo has excited me, and without doubt, I'm not saying that the Nintendo console will become my primary console, but I am saying that this is something that will get me back into playing Nintendo games, because things like Zelda, I'll talk a little bit again. Well, in fact, I'll talk about it now. Zelda! And I will put footage up of this as well behind me. Zelda Breath of the Wild, which looks absolutely... the only reason I'm showing this is because I know this footage has been out there for a while, and this footage looks like it's been played on the Wii U, because this game is coming out for Wii U and Switch, and it looks gorgeous. And if this is the Wii U footage that we're seeing, which I think it is, because it seems to be at 720p, I'm hoping that there's going to be a 1080p version that's coming for Switch, which I'm almost positive there will be, because that's their flagship franchise along with Super Mario. So yeah, I'm uber excited about this game. I haven't played Zelda since Wind Waker. Was it Wind Waker or Wind Walker? Wind Waker, I think. And I was a little bit disappointed because they changed it to a cartoony type format, and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was the one that I just adored and played with my son when he was a young lad. And that really holds a special place in my heart. And looking at this game looks very similar to the style, the music and the sounds and the way that it plays with them floating through the air and just the variety of ways that you can kill things, use the environments, all improved again since I played it. But I was watching this footage after I saw the release of the Switch video, and I can't wait to get back into that world. And I did. I got a little shot of my son's 3DS within the last year. And there is a Zelda game on that, and it does look gorgeous and what have you, but it just doesn't feel the same. It's because I'm not much of a portable gamer. I think it's just, it didn't grab me much. And I'm sure it's a fine game, and I'm sure it's really enjoyable. But but looking at Breath of the Wild just really gets me a bit tingly. There's also, just jumping back to the Switch, and that's the only reason I'm showing Breath of the Wild. Just looking at it, I was like, this is so gorgeous. I can't wait to get back into Nintendo World. I mean, the games that we did spot on that trailer were Zelda, Super Mario Karts, possibly a couple of others. So the big titles obviously are going to be there. Hopefully at launch, we would, here's fingers crossed. I think Breath of the Wild's been in the mix for a while, though, especially for the Wii U, so I'd be surprised if it's not ready for launch. So there is also going to be a bog standard controller for it as well, much like the Wii U had. It looks very like the Xbox controller, but the sticks are at the same height, sort of toward the top of the controller. That will be available, I assume, at launch. Whether it comes as part of a standard bundle, I don't know. It might be something you need to buy separately. But the nice thing about the controller that there's two separate pieces. So you've got we've seen it. So you've got two separate bits that come off each side of this holder, and they just slide onto the portable part, and you slide it out the dock. However, you did see a picture, I think, of the guy on the plane, or one of them, with two separate pieces just not attached to anything. So that would suggest to me that they're actually wireless, those elements. And there is definitely a clip of two separate people holding one part each playing a game together, which suggests there's going to be games where you can use, one part for one person, one part for another playing the same game. How that works, I've got no idea. Could be more it could be more motion orientated stuff. That's interesting, actually, because from that video, I'm not sure if there's motion related stuff. I'd be very surprised if there isn't, though, because since obviously the original Wii, motion's been a pretty big thing for them. So you've got to assume there's something built in for the motion stuff. A lot of Wii. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this video doesn't show family gaming. It just shows the core gamers, the adults that are playing. The very fact it was showing Skyrim and such like is obviously trying to tap back into that adult type market. So it's been very interesting watching this clip, I have to say, because up until now, certainly since the Wii, certainly since the Wii, I would say it's been more family orientated than anything else. They're obviously trying to dig at the core gamers here and get us interested again. So I actually like that. And the biggest thing is, of course, for their perspective, the external devs are going to be they're going to be wanting to make their games for this Nintendo Switch without any doubt, and they've said so already. A big chunk of them, as I've said already. Good grief, I ramble on, eh? So there you are. Yes, I'm very excited about all of that. I can't wait to get my hands on Zelda again. I can't wait to play Mario again. Mario Kart, I've missed that big time. Such a good game. And even Super Mario. I remember playing Super Mario on the N64 and just being totally addicted to that. And I've been away from that, as I said last week, I've been away from that Nintendo world for so long. This is the massive excuse I need to get back into Nintendo world. So yes, exciting times. So what was next? We had the Red Dead Redemption 2 has finally been announced, which had been teased all week on the old Twitter from Rockstar themselves. They put up a few pictures, and then not a number of days later, they were like, the launch trailer is coming, blah. Again, it'll be behind me. Unfortunately, the only disappointing part of this is that the launch trailer was really short. I mean, Jesus, was it even over a minute? I don't even think it was. But it looks gorgeous. I mean, you don't see any real gameplay, but you can tell by the images that they were showing us, they're not cutscene images. They are images of the characters you're going to see in game. You can kind of tell that these days that they're using in-game graphics to show you story bits of games. Not that it told you much story either, but you just saw characters moving around. You saw the beautiful world that you were in. It looks like exactly the same time slot as the original or before. Certainly doesn't, the end of Red Dead Redemption 1, it's sort of heading in toward industrial revolution almost time with cars and such things. So that didn't seem apparent. It was all horses and carts again. So I'm kind of hopeful that it is a prequel, because I didn't really want to be near that industrial type world. I wanted to be in the Wild West, as it were. But I think from what we see in that clip, the fact that you see a group of people running through, without any doubt, I think you can have online multiplayer as parties, as groups doing things in the Wild West. I think that the environment is it was open world anyway, so I think the environment's just going to be bigger, crisper. How they do the environment, I think, was there 3 main elements last time. You crossed the river, ended up in Mexico. There was maybe 3 areas. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there might be more areas, or there might be the same amount of areas, just bigger with more in them and that sort of stuff. So very exciting. And if I'm not mistaken, is this not the first? I think this is the first game, isn't it, that they've... Because Grand Theft Auto, technically speaking, isn't a new-gen game, is it? Because it was out before the new consoles came out. So I think this is their first big game on new-gen. Unless I'm forgetting something really obvious, but I'm pretty sure it is. So this is a big deal. This is... Grand Theft Auto was a massive success. I'm a bigger fan of Red Dead Redemption, I have to say. That world captivated me far more than the Grand Theft Auto worlds do. So really excited for that. I'm really glad it's coming. The only thing that's disappointing is I kind of wish game companies would do what Bethesda did when they were releasing Fallout 4. They basically announced Fallout 4 with about, 6 to 8 weeks to go. And they said it will be out in 2 months. That's the kind of thing I like. I think to some extent, I'd rather be kept in the dark and then boom, here you go, 2 months' time, the game's going to be yours. In this particular case, it's like, boom, we're making Red Dead Redemption 2, and you can have it in a year. It's like, well, what? What are you on about? But, hey, we just went through E3 where they showed us a shit ton of stuff. And we're not going to see any of that for bloody ages. But yeah, so that's the only downer to it. It's going to be ages away yet. So without any doubt, there'll be a big E3 launch. I think it says fall 2017, doesn't it? So yeah, slightly disappointing, that aspect of it, but extremely exciting that is what they've done next and not another Grand Theft Auto as far as I'm concerned. So yes, and moving on to my final piece of news. Now this piece of news, actually this stems from before E3 and it completely passed me by. I don't know how I missed this story. But it turned out that just before E3 2016 this year, that a story leaked or was photographed from a French magazine about The Last of Us 2, at which a reporter or someone had spoken to people at Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, another person. I found a picture of the article, which I'll throw up here. You can't see it all, but you can see the imagery and stuff. So yeah, this article appeared about The Last of Us 2, and it describes all about the fact that it's about a 19-year-old Ellie. So this is, the original Last of Us was out in 2011, and the launch date of this is supposedly 2018. So it's exactly 5 years after the original, and in the original Ellie is 14. So you're talking about an actual time gap between games being the same as between stories. And it goes into a fair bit of detail about the fact it's a story of discovering answers, and you've got to assume that she's trying to find out. Well, you've got to assume that she's trying to find out about that lie spoiler. If you haven't played The Last of Us, go away. Go away. Go on. Or I'll spoil it for you. you've got to assume that lie that Joel tells her at the end is something that she needs to find out for herself. Or my personal preference would be that she is on some kind of mission where she has to help Joel. Maybe he's vanished, gone, lost. She has to be the one to try and find out what's happened. But I would still, I absolutely would love this game to be Ellie as the protagonist of this game. We've done it as Joel, and we got a little taster of being Ellie, and that little taster of being Ellie was brilliant. Everybody loved it. I don't know anyone that didn't love it, outside of the fact you suddenly had no kit. But that's games, isn't it? They like to take everything away from you midway. So, yeah, without any shadow of a doubt, I'd love this game to be Ellie as the main character that you play as, and Joel bobs in with a few bits that you might play through as Joel if he's in it. I can't imagine he wouldn't be. There's too tight a connection between the two of them. They are kind of each other's reason to live and go on and fight. So I'd be very surprised if both characters aren't in it. But I would love Ellie to be the main character, absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt. The article also talks about the cities being more open, there being more choices to make about collecting, working your way through areas. So I've always been a big fan of the fact that if they did anything with The Last of Us, that they opened it up a bit so that it wasn't so restricted to the areas that you searched. It was a little bit basic, the searching as well, so it might be more interesting if they could lift up the RPG elements to it, maybe, so that you've got more variety of things that you pick up is what I'm getting at, I guess. So, what else did we have? I'm looking down at my notes here, actually. Oh, yeah, they mentioned that there may be a 4K... Well, they seem to be suggesting that there would be a 4K version for the PS4 Pro, and that there would also be a version of The Last of Us, the original, in 4K for anyone that might have the PS4 Pro as well. So that'd be very interesting. I think it's a good idea. If they already had that in mind when they did the remastered version, and all they need to do is tweak it or release a copy that, because they might have already done it as a 4K version. I mean, they'll have known before anyone else they're a Sony studio, so they would have known that a 4K version of the console was going to come mid-life cycle. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they've already got that version ready. So, I mean, this is all fantastic news. I was always a little bit dubious as to whether or not they should do a Last of Us 2, but without any doubt there was never going to be any other way, because it was such a big game. It was so good and it was so popular, and for the amount of millions of PS4s they've sold this gen, they can't not do it. I think they've probably sold as many copies of The Last of Us Remastered as they did the original, or if not more. So they've had a double sale on that. Why would you not make a new one? I mean, you've just got to, haven't you? You've just got to. So it was never a doubt in my mind that was going to be the case, that a second one would come along. My concern is that they don't get the story right, and I'm disappointed with how they do it, because I was so happy with how everything went in the first one. So, but we're talking about Naughty Dog. They've not let me down yet, and I love them a bit, so we can only hope that... I mean, if the franchise is going to continue, it can't be in better hands, can it? I mean, they gave us the joy of the first one, so let's hope. And they do seem to have gone down the road of giving us Ellie as the main character. That's certainly what it sounds like. This is all rumours, of course, and this scanned image could be from anywhere. But it is very odd, because it talks about E3 just before the 2016 E3, and... it sounds like an actual conversation between the Naughty Dog folk and this person that wrote the article, and it suddenly was wiped from everywhere as E3 hit, and it's almost like they were going to announce it at E3, and if that was the case, then it wouldn't have been an issue, this article, but they didn't, and therefore must have gone to them and said, look, can you hold the article, because we're not going to launch it yet. So it's almost like there was a change of heart as to what they were going to reveal at E3 this year. And I think we might see something about this in E3 next year. But, well, it would make sense if the launch window is 2018, then without doubt, I think we'll see. If it's not E3, it'll be sooner. I don't think we're going to be waiting that much longer to hear about it. Because it's not, I mean, their next big game is not going to be Uncharted 5. They're not going to make an Uncharted 5. They're done with Uncharted. Certainly for now, they're not going to do any more. So it's got to be The Last of Us 2 and whatever's coming after Uncharted. The team that did, because there's, from what they say, they're split into a couple of teams. So the Uncharted lot get on with their bit, Last of Us get on with their bit, and it. So whatever the Uncharted lot were doing have moved on to something else now. And it'll be interesting to see what that is as well. It wouldn't surprise me if it's more family orientated, because they haven't really done anything, you know, they're Crash Bandicoot type style, all that sort of stuff hasn't been done for ages by them. So there you are. So there was loads though, isn't there? Like nothing happens for weeks and then everyone does it all at the same time. Or I just noticed something I've completely missed from months ago. So there you are. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about them. I mean, the biggest reasons for this particular vlog are obviously the Nintendo Switch and Red Dead Redemption 2. The Last of Us 2, seeing the article today, just got my blood pumping because I've just been playing it again to get all the trophies. So I've got every trophy on the remastered version now, apart from the online ones. There's 3 of them, and I just can't be bothered. I went on and had a game. I wasn't particularly good, and I hadn't played it for ages. And I thought, oh, you have to play like 168 games or something online to get those 2 trophies for the Firefly Journey and the Hunter. I can't be bothered. So I'm moving on, people. I'm moving on. But it was brilliant being back in the world. I must have played it through about 2 times more just to get all the trophies, and I got all the collectibles and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. So just kind of that story, seeing it today, just kind of got me going a bit. I was really excited about it. So there you are. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about the Nintendo Switch. Are you excited like I am? Red Dead Redemption 2, what are your thoughts there? What would you like it to be about? Do you want it to be a prequel? A sequel? I'm done. There is nothing more for me to say, apart from, do not be slandering my Millers, Dr. Martin. You know who you are. These ale drinkers, just stick their noses up at perfectly fine beer. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you all again. And I shall see you next time, guys. Take it easy. Bye.